Hey everybody, Chevy Nobody Else's Auto. We're going to take a look at this 1966 Catalina again. Now, if you caught the video the other day, we showed you where we picked this car up at, and the owner shared some of her stories with it. In a minute, we're going to show you the first bath this car got in 44 years, and we're going to show you a good walk around the car now that it's cleaned up. Before we get to that, there's one more story that I wanted to share. I put this in the text of the last video, but I wanted to share it with you. After I picked up the car that day, brought it back home. Like I said, it was quite a ways away from me. It was 2 or 3 hour run for me. I got a text late that night from Barbara, and she said, there's one more story. There's one more story that I really want to share. So I added it to the text of the other video, but I wanted to go ahead and tell it here because it really exemplifies what these old cars mean to a lot of people. Even though they're inanimate objects, they're major important characters in our lives, and that's what this particular car was for Barbara and Roger. She shared this story with me that when, if you caught the other video, where they dated in this car and they had this car where they got married. Well, as they were in college, as they were getting ready to graduate from college, they had dreams and goals of having their own farming operation. Roger, while he was in college, he built some, can't remember what they were called for pigs, some crates like to raise pigs in, and he managed to scrape up enough money and save up enough money while he was working in college to buy 10 gilts, which were young female pigs. So they got out of college, they had these little pigs, and they had a setup to raise them. They had a chicken coop, but Barbara didn't want chickens, so they wanted to put the little pigs in there, but they had to be able to breed them, and they needed a boar. So what they did is they had to go to the bank because they had no money. She said all we had was our reputation. So they managed to find a good boar, but the boar was $110, and they didn't have it. So Roger went to the bank and tried to borrow the $110 to buy the boar. So the first bank he went to, the banker told him you should be able to get a good boar for $100, and he wasn't going to loan him any more than $100 to buy a boar. Well, Roger figured that $10 shouldn't be that big a deal, so he went to the other bank in town. The other banker did agree to loan him the $110 to buy the boar, but he needed collateral. They didn't have anything except this, the 1966 Pontiac. They put the car up for collateral, they got the loan, they bought the boar, they started raising hogs, they started their entire farming operation because of this. And she really wanted to share that story because this is where their story started. And at the end of the text, at the very end of the text, she said, you know, I think that's why he held on to it all these years. It sat in that building, he wouldn't sell it, he wouldn't get rid of it, because of what these vehicles are in our lives. They're a major character, even though they're an inanimate object. This Pontiac, as long as it sat in the barn, it was where they started. It's where their company started. The entire farming operation started, where their family started. All started right here because of this old Pontiac. And in fact, Barbara mentioned that's why she put the Dove sticker in the windshield right here, because of how blessed they felt that they were able to successfully graduate college, build a farming operation, raise their family, and it all started right here. So she wanted me to share that, so I definitely wanted to get that worked into this video. But the other thing about it, and the other thing that reminds me of, is every time I see somebody on the internet getting bashed for not selling a car, this thing sat in a building for 44 years and he didn't want to sell it. And every time I see somebody getting bashed on the internet for not wanting to sell something, just letting it sit, sometimes that vehicle may mean a lot more to them than it does to all the people that are trying to buy it. That was the example of this a perfect example is this Pontiac right here. What it meant to him, it wasn't just a car, it was the symbol of what started their entire operation, what raised their family and everything. So really great story, definitely wanted to share that. And let's take a look at this thing's first bath after we rinsed it off, and then we're going to take a good walk around this car so you can check it out and get a good look at it. We just about got done giving her first bath after 40 plus years. After we get done, we'll let her dry off. We'll go around, we'll open the hood, we'll open the doors, we'll take a look inside of her. Let's give her last license plate a good bath here. And we'll be bringing some more footage on this one soon. Be sure to go back and check out that video where we found this car, clear up in North Kansas. Saw the shed that blew down. Fortunately, obviously didn't land on the car, but it just about did. They pulled it out, they called me, we brought it home. So stay tuned, we're gonna check out the rest of this car here shortly. So you've heard the history of this old Pontiac, you've seen its first bath. Let's go ahead and take a look at it. Now obviously, like we said, it was inside for years and years and decades. However, it definitely did age. We can see the paint is definitely weak on this car. Even though it was inside, the paint, it's just, of course, these old silver-based paints never held up great anyway. This one definitely faded out pretty bad. Now, one good thing about the old car, this thing is really intact all the way down to its original hubcaps. All 4 original hubcaps still here. All this body side trim specific to the Catalina is all still here and in good shape. We see Barbara's Dove right on the corner of the windshield. We take a peek inside of this thing while we're here. Pretty much your basic old Catalina. Steering, brakes, air, automatic, AM radio, bench seat. Nothing super exciting, just kind of your basic options that a lot of these old Pontiacs had at that point. She did say the seats had been recovered at one point in time, but she thought they put these covers right over the originals. So the original seats are supposed to be still under there. Haven't taken them apart yet to see. We'll work our way around the back of this car. We see this great roof line that these 65 and 66 full-size GM cars used. This big sloping roof line that come down to the trunk. This car has been inside, but definitely just still has some moisture that got into it somehow. It does have a little rust around the quarter panels, which is pretty typical, you know, of a car that's well over 50 years old at this point. We can work our way on around the back. Once again, all still intact. We see all the trim back here. We can see the last tag on it from 1978. Something else that ties in with our story with Barbara and Roger, we still see the K-State sticker, just the remnants of the K-State sticker in the back window from when he was driving this to college. Over on this side, kind of the same thing. We've got some rust in the quarter panels. That door's stuck. We'll have to try to get that one opened up. But all the trims here, all the side moldings are here. We'll go ahead and take a peek under the hood of this thing too. If we check out the front, it's got this super great grill, the way this thing slopes into the middle. So unique, the split grill, especially on the 66, the way they kind of narrowed down to a point in the middle. Under this big old hood, pretty much basic Pontiac 389 with the steering, brakes, and air, the basic options we talked about before. Just kind of your middle of the road, nicely equipped with all the basic options Catalina for 66. So there she is. Interesting car with a really interesting story. It's cool because it's a two-door hardtop. It's cool because it's intact. You know, the car still could be saved if somebody wanted to build one of these things. I mean, it is intact. That's the nice part about it. All this trim, all this two-door hardtop pieces that are so hard to find, it's all here. A little bit of metal patching, you know, the car could still be fixed, I think. So, cool car with a cool story. If you didn't catch the story, the video where Barbara actually shared some of her stories about the car, be sure to check that one out as well. That's what's so great about these cars. They've all got their own story, and we've all got our own stories about our particular vehicles, or something that we liked or wanted or always wanted, or somebody we knew had. That's what's great about them. This one has a super unique story. What's great about it is we were able to capture that story. Barbara shared it with us, and now we've got it, and it's part of this car's history too. So, neat piece, super happy about it, super glad that Barbara called me. and we were able to work out a deal on it and bring it in and add it to the yard. So if you got questions about this Catalina or any of the other 1,500 cars and trucks we've got in stock here right now at Nobody's, just give me a shout, 620-786-4428. Give me a quick call. That's the only way we can have a quick conversation about your project, year, make, model, body style, parts you need, or what you're looking for a project. So be sure to give me a shout. If you like these videos, you like old cars, you like old trucks, you like memorabilia, be sure to check out my channel. Subscribe and be sure to click that notifications button because we do some cool live stuff on here as well, and you're definitely going to want to know when we're on live. So check out my other videos. Lots of this other cool stuff on there. You won't want to miss them. You'll enjoy those as well. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you soon on the next video.